Fox News alert. The House returning to session today for a robust foreign policy week in response to Iran's unprecedented attack on Israel over the weekend.
17 bills are expected to hit the House floor meant to, quote, hammer Iran and show support for our ally Israel. Congressman Cory Mills sits on the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs committees, and he joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you. This is going to be a complicated process. What are your expectations when it comes to passing any form of an Israeli aid package this week?
Well, I think first off, we need to be reminded that we passed an Israeli aid package months and months ago. We passed $14.3 billion was an offset pay for from the IRS. And the Senate and Chuck Schumer has refused to try and support our ally. Why they've actually done it is because they want more money for Ukraine. Look, there's a lot of us who've asked 100% audits on Ukraine. There's a lot of us who've asked, what is the actual definition of success? What does a military strategy that wins look like? And they're unable to provide it. But right now, we know that our greatest ally in the Middle East needs support. And so what we need to be looking at is the military defense that they need right now to try and rearm things like the Iron Dome, which has kept the Israelis safe. But I think that we need an aid package that is not going to drive Americans into economic default.
Okay, but to that point, what exactly is going to be in these bills, and will there be a push to tie it to Ukraine again?
Well, I think there's definitely going to be a push to tie it to Ukraine, Todd. I mean, we've got so many people who are just Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. I wish they were America, America, America. But unfortunately, our border walls and our open invasion that's going on in the south and in the north is being completely ignored for everyone else's priorities. Look, for me, I would like to see at a minimum, if they're going to tether Ukraine and Israel together, at least make sure that you've got policy writers like H.R. 1, the Low Cost Energy Act, that's going to help to build economic growth in America, something that's going to actually impact the Americans to get our cost of gas down, our cost to heat and cool our houses down. Let's start prioritizing America first, and let's start trying to get policy writers that are going to be supporting America as well as for our allies abroad if that's what's necessary.
Congressman, did you see this news? A U.S. official confirmed to Fox that roughly 50% of the ballistic missiles fired by Iran failed to launch or crashed before reaching their target. And that official said so much for the vaunted ballistic missile capabilities of Iran. That seems like a piece of good news.
Well, it's a piece of good news, but we've always known that Iran's actual equipment, which many of it is supplied by China and Russia, is not at the highest qualities. But I also look at this and wonder whether or not it's a very similar incident to what they did after the successful counterterrorism strike by President Trump, where we eliminated Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi. They then returned by firing ballistic missiles that never impacted any of their designated targets. So we have to keep in mind that Iran is always on the verge of revolution. They have to appease their populace to not show weakness. And so this could be very well the same thing. But they have to realize it's a historic thing for Iran to launch from their nation, not by proxies, not by outside areas like in Lebanon or by Syria. This is on direct. So this is an actual attack on Israel from Iran. And so we will see what our ally responds with. We'll see what Israel's strategy is. But I support fully Israel's rights to defend itself and to defend its citizens.
Meantime, Senator Rubio had a pretty scathing reaction in response to the news that Biden told Netanyahu the U.S. would not participate in any possible counterattack on Iran. Listen.
Joe Biden telling Netanyahu, take the win, don't do anything. And then his people leaking it to the media, leaking it to the press. There's only one reason they leaked that, and that is that so when Israel does respond, the White House can say, we told them not to do it, and at least somehow, in some way, appease these so-called peace activists, by the way, these ceasefire now people who were out yesterday cheering the launch of hundreds of rockets and drones and missiles against Israel. People that are out there cheering military attacks of this scale and scope are not peace activists. These are anti-Semites, anti-Israel, pro-terrorist elements out there, and we need to stop calling them peace activists.
Final thoughts to you. 10 seconds, Congressman.
Well, bottom line is that Senator Rubio is right. You can't be pro-Iran and pro-Israel at the same time. We have to be able to defend our allies, but we also have to understand that this happened because of Joe Biden's weakness on the world stage and because of his release of tens of billions of dollars in fungible assets.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.